Welcome to Pick Central. Today is Tuesday, November 5th. As always, brought to you by DraftKings. The NBA is finally back. Unfortunately, none tonight, but we'll be back all this week. New season means new ways to get in the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Who's draining threes from beyond the arc? Who's crashing the boards and grabbing rebounds? Go get behind your favorite players and prop bets you can make on DraftKings, the home of NBA player props. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and place your bet. First-time new DraftKings customers. Bet $5, get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Take it to the rack with DraftKings Sportsbook. Every point counts. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code PIXCentral. That's code PIXCentral for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Myself, Chris Clemmer, Dukes, Meek behind the glass. Big day today. Huge day. Pivotal moment in American history. MACtion's back. MACtion is back. We have Bowling Green playing Central Michigan. Miami of Ohio playing Ball State. And I want to say now, for the record, we're very transparent with our fans, with our listeners, with our viewers. I'll be voting for Bowling Green to cover the spread tonight.
Wow.
As well as Miami of Ohio. They need to cover the spreads.
Controversial take.
Most important thing in America today.
That's right.
Bowling Green and Miami of Ohio covering the spreads.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to pick a side here. I'm going red. I'm going the spread Hawks.
Yep,
yeah.
Love it. Love it. Miami of Ohio, baby. Hell of a defense. All right, so we'll get into. We'll talk a bunch of stuff. We'll talk a little Gerrit Cole thing. We'll talk some college basketball. But we'll start off with last night, Monday Night Football. Chiefs win in overtime. Inevitable. Kind of a weird game. Chiefs had some bad mistakes. Felt like some bad turnovers. Kelsey fumble.
Mahomes had like that injury.
Mahomes had like the weirdest injury of all time, where I literally thought he was dead. He gets literally carried off the field.
And the next thing you know, he's jogging around.
Fine. And then Carson Wentz starts warming up, and he was like, "Hold on a second." he was like, "Why are you throwing the football, Carson Wentz? Sit the fuck back down and hold the clipboard." That was truly. I'm glad that was one of the more bizarre things I think I've like ever seen.
I'm like, he's cooked non-contact. I'm like, he's cooked. This is so fucked.
The way I thought it was almost his knee, but then a lot of people were like his ankle.
Yeah.
It was that weird, his leg from the behind angle. His leg made that weird, like, poop, like it just kind of like shifted.
Like it slid, if you will.
It just like shifted. That's my knee jerk was like his knee. I thought it was, no pun intended, I thought it was his knee. But I guess it was more his ankle. But I mean, it almost was like Paul Pierce-esque.
Yes.
Where he gets like literally getting carried off by two guys or holding him, where you don't think he can put any weight on the leg. You're thinking, oh my God, is this like season ending? Is this like missing like multiple games? Like what are we? I don't know. I was thinking bad things, and then he's just out there again, throws a touchdown pass, win the game, go win the game in overtime. It's
all, and the point now where our lights are going crazy in here. He could just turn it on. Like, the first three quarters, he's kind of, dicking around. That fourth quarter comes in, he just hits this new gear, and he's, like, unbeatable. He knows exactly when to turn it on.
I don't think we've ever, at least I'll speak for myself, I've never felt something as a fan so automatic.
Yeah.
Then when they win the coin toss, I'm like, oh, game's over. Like, they're just going to go score a touchdown.
I guess it's like Brady-esque.
But I think it's even more.
I think you're right.
I think it's even more automatic. Like, he literally does not lose ever in these situations. Like, no one has ever really, like, slayed this dragon. Like, and I saw a stat today, too, that Warren Sharp posted. This year so far, I think it's through 9 weeks. He has the Chiefs, and obviously a big part of that is Mahomes, have the best third down conversion rate in the last 13 years in the NFL. They're literally automatic on converting third down.
You saw it last night.
Unbelievable.
On third down, that's when he had his 2 touchdowns. Up to that point, I know they had a stat like middle of the game. He was like basically unbeatable at third downs. So, what's your take on them not going for 2?
It was one in the moment. So my thought process, I was like, oh, like they probably should.
Yeah.
But for me, there's the part of it that I understand not going for 2 was. It's Mahomes. Well, it kind of, you can argue like both sides of it, where on one hand you're thinking there was 30 some seconds
30
left?
seconds left, say.
So in my head, they also had I believe at least one timeout, maybe 2. I know they had one for sure, the Chiefs. They had one, I know. I think they might even have two, actually.
I forget. I forget. I'm sorry.
I can't, but I know they at least had one.
Yeah.
And my thought process was, that's enough time where you might go for two and get this, and it might not even matter.
So I'm thinking they could just drive down and get a field goal.
And so that part of me was like, you know what? I get not going for two. But then there's the other side of it where you're clearly the inferior team.
Yes.
You're undermanned, like Evans is out. Godwin's out. McMillan's out. You're like rookie receiver who'd look good. So literally 3 of your top like 4 receivers are out. You're playing the Chiefs. Like you're on the road, better football team. And you're just like, fuck it. Like, let's go for two. So that I understand. And I'm like Mr. Go for two. I love, like, I'm a big go for fourth down guy, go for two. So I think I didn't get myself like up for it because I just know that's the way Bowles is. He's not a big like gambler like that. So when I saw them, I kind of just didn't expect them to go for two.
I didn't either. I'm very familiar with Todd Bowles.
The
Unfortunately,
thought went through my mind, but I was like, Bowles doesn't go for two. That's not his style.
they should have. Obviously, hindsight 2020. In the moment, I was like, I think they should, but I wasn't 100%. But I really probably should have been. I'd rather give Patrick Mahomes the ball with 29 seconds left than have to face him in overtime. You know what I mean? Like, I think
that's fair.
I think that like levels the playing field. But obviously, the chance you don't make the 2 point, but then you lost the game.
You're
anyway.
onside kicking, yeah. I definitely. They probably, like you said, hindsight's 2020. They probably should have went for it, but I didn't think it was I think they probably should have, but I don't think it was as bad as people let on. Just because the Chiefs had, I want to fact check that, but at least one time.
I agree.
30 seconds. Like that's. I mean,
maybe you're hoping you win the coin toss in overtime, and that way maybe you could just drive down the field. That's a big ask. Baker looked good yesterday too.
Played great. No, Baker played awesome yesterday. That was what I was surprised about. I looked at a lot of the stuff with. They were so much better against zone. Chiefs play man, one of the best man teams in the league. So for him to have the game he did was incredible. He is one of the like better quarterbacks in the league. And
I was gonna say I might need. I think you're already there, but I might need to put him in like the very good. I had him in the good category. He might now be in the very good.
Like he's a very good player. It's crazy the way I've said it a bunch, and I said actually before you even were on the show. In real time when he was on the Browns, I thought the way they just cast him aside was crazy. That's obviously aged like incredibly well. Look where the Browns are now. Right. And they literally had a guy that they could have just kept.
Yep.
That's 10 times the player for literally half the money, maybe less.
And the draft picks.
And the draft picks, everything.
No, you got to give Marty credit for that one. Marty also is a big Baker believer.
Yeah, he said I've said it to him. I've said on the show. He almost annoyed me because I was Baker and he just went like so hard into it that he kind of became a Baker guy. But I went on the record. The receipts are there from the show from years ago. I was saying like played with a torn labrum. I don't know why I don't know why Browns fans are acting like Baker Mayfield is now beneath them because they won a playoff game, which was with Baker Mayfield for the record.
It was beautiful.
But just a good quarterback.
It's beautiful to see it happen. Like the whole way that it went down with the Browns too. Like to leave him in the dust. And you're like, I remember in real time, like the one time I was like, all right, maybe Marty's wrong, or like maybe like I was out on because like he'd say, and I'm like, dude, I'm with you. I think Baker's so good. It's when he played with that torn labrum on his non-throwing shoulder. It's like you either don't play and you're called like a pussy and you're not playing for your team, or you play shitty and then you're like, all right, we gotta get this guy out of here.
That situation.
The only doubt was with the Panthers. The Panthers, I was like, maybe he is bad.
Yeah, that's the whole situation with the Browns. Almost made me realize how like it gave me like kind of a just like a sober moment of how fans will like kind of go either way no matter what. Where he played the whole year with the torn labrum, he didn't play as well. Then he literally when they were out of playoff contention, week 17, he decided to sit out and get the surgery, and they gave him shit for that. Yep. And I was like, dude, this guy can't ever win with this fan base. I was like, and I love Browns fans. I lived in Ohio for a few years. I gained such an appreciation for Browns fans, especially when I was at Ohio State. They run where they literally went like 1-31, like a 2-year stretch. Like I don't know if we'll ever see.
Was that the Sean Kaiser time?
Yeah, it's like Kaiser. They literally went. It was Hugh Jackson. Yeah, they were god awful. Truly god awful.
Might be the worst football team I've ever seen in my life.
Maybe the worst 2-year stretch.
They were worse than the Lions where that year they went.
Yeah, maybe the worst 2-year stretch we'll see in NFL history from a franchise. Yes. And the way, and I appreciate it so much at every game, Thursday Night Football at bar, whatever, whenever they played. Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Who? Like going so hard for them, like riding for this team, like loving this team when they were at their absolute worst. So it just made no sense to me why they got a little taste of success for like 2 years, and they just were all of a sudden like, oh, like Baker's a bum, like get him out of here, like. They didn't even love when they drafted him in the first place. I had a lot of people being like, oh, like not crazy about it. And then just the way I just feel like the way they kind of treated him. When things just went like a little bit south, when they had weird stuff, when like Freddie Kitchens was an atrocious coach, they had Odell was was not a great teammate during all that. You got his dad posting videos of how open he was all the time. He's not getting the ball. Like just a lot of nonsense that I thought he put up with. So I'm glad to see him like come out of it the other side. When people would have thought a couple years ago his career was like over.
Oh yeah.
And now I think you would he's easily a top.
So I said he's now a very good quarterback.
He's like safely a top half quarterback. Even like
he's got a good contract.
Argument for top like 10, 12. Easily.
I think that's fair.
Easily.
There were football reasons at the time, I think, to dump Baker, like end that marriage. It's just who they replaced him with, I think, is the bigger issue. But I think
they cut the bait.
The reason I don't mind,
cut the line too early.
I just don't mind saying it because I was saying it in real time, so I don't feel I'm being revisionist on it. I just think he had one not great year, and that was enough for them to just like basically say they almost like Jared golfed him in the sense of kind of like what the Rams were like. We saw what his ceiling was. Like he can't get us over the hump.
Yeah.
We need we have a Super Bowl roster, not a Super Bowl quarterback, and I think they did have a Super Bowl quarterback.
Like maybe let's say they get at a time a Jimmy Garoppolo or like a Derek Carr. Like that was so bad. It's like you could dump that guy and then draft a fresh quarterback as opposed to you're stuck with Deshaun Watson for
they're fucked
forever. And you gave up all those draft picks to get him.
It's not just the Browns. Because then, I know you mentioned it, but he went to the Panthers. Think of what the Panthers did to get a quarterback. They basically shot themselves in the foot for 2 seasons.
Yeah.
They gave up the number 1 overall pick just to get a quarterback when they already had one in hand. So they had 2 franchises, had a very good quarterback in their hands, and they made horrible moves afterwards.
The Browns move is way worse than what the Panthers did.
I don't know if it is way worse.
No, it is.
I think it is. I think the Browns.
I think it's worse because they knew what they had with Baker more, but
I think the Browns.
That Panthers trade will go down in history, Phil.
The Browns is worse because they had the team there. Like the Panthers, the team sucked.
Yes.
The Browns, they had the team, and they had the quarterback with the team, and they didn't give him at least just one more opportunity. He's played good ball for us. He played poorly. What really killed him was I can't remember if it was Thanksgiving. I think it might have been Christmas. They played a game against the Packers that he was awful.
5 interceptions. I remember that.
Awful. I remember all my family was over. We're watching. We're like, oh my god! And I think that game is what they were like. We're done with this guy.
Yeah.
But he's playing with a fucking torn labrum out there, gutting it out.
Yep.
Like week 15, in 14, whatever it was in the season. And I think after that game, they were like, I think they already were like having some doubts. In that game, they were like, we're done with this guy. I think they got boat raced by the Packers. And
he's in a good spot now. The NFC, he's. I know the receivers are hurt right now, but he seems to like it there. He has a good contract there. It seems like a good.
I think it's a good fit
I think for both the team and the player.
Also, he's a good receivers there. Obviously, Evans at least will be back. Godwin's done, but Evans will be back. I think after the Week 11 bye. And if you look, they showed the schedule out yesterday on the screen. Very favorable especially down the stretch.
They are 4-5.
Their last 4 or 5 games are they have to play. They still haven't played the Panthers yet, so they have 2 games against the Panthers still left in their schedule. They have a Saints game left in their schedule. They got a few others that are
a Giants game.
Like Giants are obviously very winnable. Raiders very winnable. Easy schedule.
Cowboys week 16. I don't know if Dak will be back by then, but if
he'll be back, but they may not be playing for anything.
They suck. Yeah, they're bad, and they might be in a horrible spot by then.
We can talk about Dak going on IR for 4 games.
Their
season's over.
It's cooked.
Yeah,
it is actually crazy. Cooper Rush, the start in the NFL, is 22-8.
What? Is that true?
That's what I saw.
Wait, there's no way he started 30 games.
I'm going to be honest.
5-1. 5-1.
You said 22-8.
I don't know.
Was that college too?
He is 5-1. Yeah.
He has to include college.
I'm like, he started 30 games?
No, because I got to be honest. I saw it too, and I had it, and I was like, wait a second. I was like, I had that initial thought when I saw it, but the account that tweeted it, I could have swore was pretty legit.
There's no way.
You know what it might be? It might be just any game he appeared and they won.
Okay.
He's been in 30 NFL games.
Okay, so that's what it is.
But his record as a starter.
Okay. That's what it appeared.
5-1.
5-1 still a great starting record.
But it's almost
22-8 in games he's appeared in. I apologize.
There's no way I missed 2 seasons worth of Cooper Rush.
I thought I even when I said it, I was like 30 games, a lot of games. 22-8. I apologize. Games he's played in.
The Bosco moment.
I did have a Bosco moment.
5-1 though. That's better. It's almost
good,
perfect.
Still good. Well, I remember he had that one stretch where he started a bunch of games and they were winning, and people were kind of like, do we?
Jerry Jones endorsed him.
Yeah, I was gonna say Cooper Rush.
The next games are against Eagles, Texans, Commanders, so you could be 5-4 pretty quick. Then it's the Giants, so maybe they'll win that
The
one.
Cowboys, you're saying?
Yeah, it's the Cowboys' schedule, the next 4 games. Eagles, Texans, Commanders,
Imagine
Giants.
they just played better with Cooper Rush. They just went on a run.
They
Right after
traded a fourth for Jonathan Mingo.
Yeah. Also, that trade.
so dumb.
What a dumbass trade by the Cowboys.
stupid.
I think it's dumb on both ends because wasn't Mingo like the 33rd or 34th pick in the draft like a year ago?
Yep.
He was a few years ago, but I think the reason I'll push back on that is I think they've clearly found two more, like they clearly
39th
found
overall.
2 more receivers that they like better than him that are young. Like they like Leggett better and they like Coker better. So I think they're kind of like, this guy, he's not going to be in the mix. They've like clearly by making this trade, they've established like he's the third out of this trio of young receivers. So it's kind of like, let's get an asset back for him. He's just going to rot on the bench.
Just shows you how horrible that draft was, and right?
Totally,
Wasn't that the same year
bad
they
pick.
drafted?
Totally bad pick. Bad pick.
But like that whole draft was a nightmare for them, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
That was the same year they drafted Young, so like
Yeah.
that's horrible.
So yeah, bad pick, but it didn't make it worse. I get what you're saying.
Like they tried to get some value out of it, like instead of just eating a horrific draft pick and a loss. But the Cowboys, it makes no sense to me either because, like, I mean, you have some receivers in the team. Like your season's down the drain. Like this team's not doing anything.
No.
Like why are you giving up 4th round picks? And even I saw
idea.
they actually, if you look at this regime, their 4th round draft picks have been like incredible.
Oh,
Like they drafted Dak in the 4th round.
Oh, Jesus.
They drafted Jake Ferguson in the 4th round. Like they drafted like 3 or 4 like key, or maybe it's even 5, like 4 of the key players on their team that are like their
fourth rounds means something. It's
It's basically
crazy.
showing that they've like this regime has done well with these picks. Like why are you giving up this asset for fucking Mingo?
Typical Jerry Jones.
It feels so weird to have a
Desperate.
football season where the Dallas Cowboys are just irrelevant.
So irrelevant.
Like-
couldn't be more irrelevant.
It's just a weird feeling. Like even when they're bad or like they're still like interesting. Like this team is just blah.
I mean, because their defense is awful, and they will get Micah Parsons back. It sounds like next week, but they were bad when he was playing. Like it's not like he just is going to magically like make them better. I'm sure he's not going to hurt, but they're truly just awful.
And they're only, like I said, that stretch, the next 3 games are tough. They're only going to get worse. There's a very good chance they're 3-8.
Oh no, they could be just cooked.
Yeah, those next 3 games are tough. That's
They almost might be in a spot where listen, he'll play no matter what, but they're almost going to be in a spot if they are 3-8, for example. Like why are
I bring him back at all.
Yeah, why?
Yeah,
Wait, they're 3-5.
they're 3-5 right now.
So he's missing the next 4 games, like
Yes.
no matter what. He's
So
out.
let's say they're 4-8 when they come out, which is very possible.
Oh man,
Like why? What's the point?
he will play. They'll do it.
I know. I think
But it's
you're right.
like, but yeah, God. I mean, I relish it because I fucking hate the Cowboys. They're a bunch of scumbags. Also, nothing more annoys. All my like best friends are Cowboys fans. It drives me insane.
Cowboy Yankee fans.
Yes,
Well, that's quite a
but they're from New York. It drives me crazy.
so weird.
At least with a Yankees fan, they're from New York.
Yeah,
Like,
that's fair, I
Do
Do they root for the Lakers too?
Yeah.
Or Alabama?
Nah, Knicks. But just annoying as fuck. It pisses me off so much. Fucking scumbag New Jersey, New York Cowboys fans. But I would say we'll talk a little college basketball. But first, what was I just gonna say? What was it? Gerrit Cole. Gerrit Cole's contract situation.
Yeah, we had some baseball moves yesterday.
Yeah, he comes back. Doesn't they basically nothing happened. Essentially,
Yankees called his bluff.
they opt out to basically get this extra year.
Mm-hmm.
What is it, $36 million? The Yankees basically say, yeah, we don't want to do that. Let's just bring you back on the contract you were already on. And they just said, sounds good.
Yep. He realized he was over a barrel pretty quick. I think.
Realized that he wasn't going to go on the open market and get all this get like this bigger contract. I think why not just stay here with the contract you're on that you signed a couple years ago? That's
With a franchise,
a franchise I think you've enjoyed playing.
probably better for your legacy to stick.
You've had success there. Yeah, it was on those. It's weird because we said yesterday. Like I never really thought. I thought it was kind of like a non-story. It still is, but it like isn't in the sense of like this Boris thing is starting to heat up in terms of like it just seems like these owners are really giving like a fuck you to Boris and are just being like, we're not letting you just like continue to strong arm us anymore, and your clients are now gonna like feel that.
He's also making mistakes, which he didn't used to make. So like the Jordan Montgomery thing was a mistake. That was Boris, right, Phil? He fired him.
Yeah, I believe he did fire Boris.
That was a disaster. That was handled really badly. And then this was a disaster in that talk about making the player look weak. Does this opt out for 1 year, basically his age 38 season, to get paid $36 million. It was kind of a fate to complete that. Like, it looked like this is just gonna work out. Yankees gonna pick up the option year, and there you go. He's done. He doesn't. The Yankees call his bluff. Basically, Cole tucks his dick between his legs and says, "Yep, sure, I'll sign back.
We'll just take it. Like whatever,
whatever you say.
We just had. Let's just do that one.
Like it was just. I don't know if I've ever seen this in baseball. I've never seen someone do an opt out like that, a big player, and then have his bluff be called. I don't know if I've seen it.
Well, also, I think it's a big thing too because obviously Boris represents Soto.
Huge deal.
So I wonder. I saw someone wrote this, and I was curious your thoughts on this. That someone basically made the comment like, I think this almost was the Yankees saying, listen, like if we do this, it's gonna make the Soto thing hard. Like don't do this. Like don't like almost him. I don't want to say not having the best interest of Cole in favor of Soto, but a little bit of like he's I don't know if conflicted is the right word, but he represents both. And them kind of saying it's going to impact Soto's contract potentially. So almost kind of talking out of each side of his mouth, Boris was like representing Soto, representing Cole. You did this trying to get Cole more money. They're saying fuck you if you do this. Like Soto's not going to get more money. I don't know if it went exactly that cut and dry, but you know what I'm saying. Like,
I think the Yankees didn't want to piss off Boris any more than they had to do. And
that's what I'm saying. And I think Boris also didn't want
to piss off the Yankees any more than he had to. So I think the Soto thing was definitely in the back of everybody's minds. There was 2 qualifying offers accepted yesterday that kind of shocked both me.
Well, not accepted, offered.
Offered, excuse me. That we think will be accepted potentially. Phil and I were just shocked it was offered. The Nick Martinez one wasn't super shocking, but he's a swing guy. Started about 15 games this year. He got the qualifying offer from the Reds for $21 million. That seems like an overpay. I'm guessing he'll accept that. And the bigger one was Nick Pivetta, the starter for the Red Sox. He got offered it, which is crazy because the Red Sox didn't offer to Tyler O'Neill, who had 30 home runs and 400 at-bats.
Yep.
But they offered to Nick Pivetta, who's pretty much about as average a pitcher as you can find. I'm guessing Nick Pivetta accepts it, but $21 million for 1 year Nick Pivetta seems crazy. And the Mets offered it to Luis Severino. I'm hoping Severino takes it because I'd love to have him back for a 1 year deal. But that made more sense than the Pivetta one did.
I wonder about Severino. Like, what do you think Severino's like? What do you think what do you think the attention he kind of gets on the open market?
Well, this is going to hurt him because now the qualifying offer means that if you take him, you lose draft money.
So I'm not sure if the qualifying offer was factored into this, but Kylie McDaniel of ESPN projected everyone's contracts, what he thinks he's getting. He thinks Severino would be 3 years, $58 million.
Oh, I take the under on that hard now.
With the pick attached, I don't think he can get that.
I don't think so either. And I almost think the pick attached, even before the pick, you could have told me 2 years, 38, and I would have said maybe. And now with the pick attached, people aren't going to want to go in that direction.
Well, I wonder, for example, that's like what you said, 2 years, 2 year 37 was what Stroman got.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
But you think with the pick attached makes it a little different.
Yeah.
But let's say if it wasn't. For hypothetical.
Yeah, sure.
You think he gets him
yeah.
Severino is worth more money than Stroman.
He'd get around $50 million.
I personally think I'm asking. I guess your guys' thoughts. I guess Meek agrees.
Would I rather have on my team for next year, Stroman or Severino? It's kind of a push to me.
You think so?
Remember, Severino's only 30, so he's younger.
That's why I would lean Severino. I think I'd probably.
Yeah, but Stroman also is kind of a headache with some things. But Stroman, I will say to Stroman's defense, he's been more consistent.
Probably fair.
Over his career, because Severino's had the injuries. He's been up and down for you guys.
Yeah, he's even probably had higher. Stroman's had some good peaks.
To Severino's credit, he did stay healthy all last season. He made every single start.
And even that last playoff start he had, the ball had so much life to it. That was his ball was a crazy movement. All right, he's still throwing pretty good here. So I'd love to bring him back for another year for sure. I'm nothing the Mets did really surprise me yesterday. But definitely keep an eye on Pivetta and the Nick Martinez thing if you're a baseball guy.
Another thing, are you surprised Glaber wasn't offered the qualifying offer?
I'm shocked.
I was pretty surprised because especially to throw it to Soto where obviously he's not taking it
Yeah. It's Soto thing
obviously
why not? I mean? Why I think Glaber's going to get more than 1 year. It's worth.
That's why it didn't really make sense to me why just kind of waste it.
I also love the player. He's only 28.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of upside there still. He was huge for us down the stretch. like really second half of the season, really last few months of the season as the leadoff guy.
I think someone's going to offer him 3 years. I would. Phil, what do you think? If he got 3 years, 50, would that?
That's about around what Kylie McDaniel projected, like 3 years, like $17 million a year.
Yeah.
So,
I wonder, but I think there's a chance the Yankees would re-sign him on that. The Soto is just obviously the biggest obstacle. It's just like that's always going to be kind of looming. And how long is Glaber going to wait?
That's why
to get figured out.
That's why the qualifying offer might make sense because then in 2 weeks he has to take it or not.
It doesn't really make. That's why I didn't understand it.
I was shocked. I thought he was a lock to get a.
I could have been fooled by this, but I saw a tweet on the Michael K show. Michael K said that they should give Boris like a December 1st deadline for Soto. It's like let us know. I think it's a dumb idea, but
that's not how the world works.
Yeah, let us know if he's coming or not, so that way we don't lose out on all these other replacements.
Well, no shit. Yeah, everyone wants that, but that's just not how things.
Yeah,
and Soto now calls all the shots. Yeah. Soto has all the control. He's basically Ted Williams. He's that good. He's 25. Going to be 26 next year. He calls all the shots. He controls everything, and it's his timetable, and everyone else just has to get used to it. And it sucks for teams like the Mets, the Yankees, or whoever else is interested in him because now we're holding this money hostage. But he's in charge.
Because the problem is either whoever signs him, the team that doesn't, like you're gonna lose out on other guys potentially because you were waiting on Soto.
We're
depending on how long he wants to wait.
Our teams are in very precarious situations, especially the Mets, because the Mets have to basically rebuild their entire rotation. So we have a lot of holes to fill. We can't be waiting around for Soto, but on the same token, we have to be waiting around for Soto.
And notice we just like I know this got mentioned on the show. Like Blake Snell opted out.
Yes.
Like so you have some big time arms in the free agent market.
Blake Snell, Corbin Burns. Who am I forgetting?
Max Fried,
Sean Manaea,
Jack Flaherty, who just pitched in the World Series.
Like there's some pretty good arms out there.
Yeah, legit top of the line starting pitching.
And Blake Snell, there's no qualifying offer attached, so you don't even have to worry
agent.
about. He's a total free agent. With Burns, there is but with so that's something to keep an eye on. You get Snell, you don't have to worry about any draft ramifications.
That's why I feel like the Mets may go after him as opposed to Burns if they were to go after a pitcher.
I think you're right. The Mets have said they make it a priority to avoid losing that draft because you're losing. It's not just losing the draft pick; you're losing draft money.
Yeah,
that's the bigger issue.
And look, for a player like Juan Soto, you give that up for a blink. Like that's like not even like a thought. But it's like when you start signing like him and Burns, I think that's where you get yourself in a rock and a hard place. You can't do it for two guys.
So, I guess that's the Yankees' thought process is that if he doesn't come back, you're getting something in return.
Right. So if
I'm saying like that to use it on Soto, basically guarantee yourself if we don't re-sign him, we're getting.
Soto was the easiest. Anyone could have made that decision. The Glaber one's more complicated. What do you do with that one? Because there's a chance he might accept it. But I think getting Glaber at 1 year, 21 that's a bargain. So I would have that's why I don't understand why the Yankees did that.
It was worth giving him, even if you think that's like a slight overpay, like AAV.
1 year deal.
Like it's 1 year. Like it's worth like, hey, this is one more year to prove where if he has another say he has even better season, say he has a great season this coming year, then like you figure it out from there.
And then also for the player that helps him because now he doesn't have to worry about the qualifying because you can only offer it once in someone's career. So then next year he's totally a free agent.
Yep.
But hey, he's it hit to Glaber's credit, he's a total free agent right now.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I think the Mets may target Glaber.
I think you're right.
I can see that.
Because he has a good relationship with Carlos Mendoza, likes New York. And when it comes to Mets,
qualifying offer attached.
Mets with second base depth, it's like Jeff McNeil isn't like he's not blocking anyone. I'm not sold on Luis Angel Acuna, albeit like he had a good 14 days
but his AAA stats were not great last year.
Yeah,
I'll just come out and say I like the player a lot, but I think he still has some things to learn down there, or up there, I guess, in Syracuse. But
yeah, I like little baseball talk
a little hot stove.
Fill my guys up, Phil Clemmer and Meek up. I'm gonna say now we'll get my guy Dukes involved. Big college basketball night last night.
Big college basketball night.
Huge night.
The opening night. It was sick.
I would say. We'll talk about the big game.
Already nailed some picks last night too. I got to give
the big spreads. Kansas won easy. Duke.
How about Duke? Huh?
Duke cover. They look good.
I went 8-1 last night.
Did you really?
There we go.
Marty had a huge day too.
Only one I lost was Brown -2.5. To
Damn
Siena.
Brown.
It always bites you in the ass.
Damn. Yeah, Siena. My dad actually went to Siena for a year.
Did he?
Little fun fact. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, just 1 year. But I would say. Gonzaga puts on a fucking clinic last night. That was offensive. The way they just blitzed them was insane. They win by 30. It went 101 to 63. We're up like 20 at halftime, just blitzed them. Just, I mean, wire to wire, just smoked them.
Defensively, Gonzaga just looks like an absolute weapon. Like in the national championship in 2021, I think the thing is, like, I look back at the Gonzaga team and I'm like, wow, how did they not win the national championship? They were so fucking good. It's because they were a little bit of pussy on the defensive end.
Yeah.
And last night they fucking blitzed them. Like, as much as their offense should get the shine, defensively is what impressed me the most. And that's like a very, very talented Baylor team with a great coach, great pieces. Like VJ Edgecombe, people were talking about him potentially becoming like the number 2, maybe sneaking his way into the number 1 pick.
Yep.
So this is like a very talented Jeremy Roach, Duke. Like, even Marty was talking about the exhibition with Arizona State Duke. This is against a top 10 preseason team, a team that's like really good, like probably a top 3 program in the past 10 years in Baylor.
Omier, too, the center from Miami. I'm a big fan of him.
Yeah.
Great player. Now, they have a really good team. And Scott Drew's a great coach. Like, they'll get it figured out. But to me, it was more Gonzaga. Like, they just looked incredible. Also, I remember him last year, but Dusty Stromer is like the best, like, one of the better college basketball names. Just white guy with like long, like curly hair that can shoot threes. Dusty Stromer. That guy just whapping threes in your face all game.
Old Dusty.
See the fuck off. But yeah, I mean, they look good, man. That was it's tough with Gonzaga because you see them play like a few of these games now. Wait, they didn't change conference this year yet.
No,
did
they're
they?
going to the Pac-12.
It's next year, right?
Yeah.
Next year?
Yeah.
All right, so they're not playing a Pac-12. I thought that was right. Not playing Pac-12 schedule yet. But they always it's kind of good for them to like have a performance like this early because once they get in the conference schedule, they just play no one. And listen, like Santa Clara is not bad. Like St. Mary's is pretty good, but they still like game to game. Like obviously, it's so much different than playing like a Big 12 schedule, SEC schedule, Big 10 schedule, even Pac-12.
Yeah, I mean, these games from mid-major schools, like the out-of-conference, you got to take care of business. Like, even in, like, the A-10, like, I count on the A-10 teams winning those out-of-conference games because when they come to league play, their net's higher and it looks as better wins. The losses aren't as bad. There's just landmines all over the place in, like, this conference, like the WCC. So,
Yeah.
I mean, your Buckeyes also looked really good.
Dude, they looked incredible. I was more impressed than I even, like, expected. I thought I was, like, high on them. I thought they were underrated coming into the year. They looked fucking awesome. The guard play. Bruce Thornton's one of the best point guards in the country.
Of course, yes.
Incredible. And then I got Junie Mobley. John Mobley Jr. We had one of our better like freshman recruits we've had in a while. Absolute sniper. Just knocking threes down. Him, Michi Johnson, who was at Ohio State a couple years ago, went to South Carolina. Now we brought him back. He looked great. Devin Royal. Micah Parrish, the San Diego State kid, looked incredible. Just Swiss Army knife, do everything kind of guy. Rebound, score, make threes, pass. Ohio State looks really good. Bradshaw and Stewart didn't like fill up the stat sheet, but we're just like an interior presence that the team hasn't had in a while that they've needed. I'm like really, really, really excited. I don't want to like talk Buckeyes for like 20 minutes, but there was really two like only like big games. And those were them. And, yeah, I mean, Texas looked good, too. I mean, Trey Johnson's unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't like...
That kid's unbelievable.
I just don't like Rodney Terry. I think that, like, the hire at the time, like, it was just carried by a Chris Beard roster that he built. You know, same fundamentals. Like, the locker room voice doesn't change that much. It was, like, the right move at the time to keep him. But I don't know if this is going to work out in the long run. I love... Because I'm way higher on Ohio State. Like, Texas, I was selling. Ohio State, I was buying. I've been eyeing this game down for the past, like, month.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge, too. Like, we haven't made the tournament a couple years. It's so big to, like, stick a win like that in your back pocket this early in the year when it comes down to, like, tournament. And I really think Ohio State's going to be good enough that missing the tournament's, like, not going to be a thing. I think we're that good that we're going to be, like, pretty clearly in. But just having a win over Texas is huge. Just to, like, because they look at your non-conference, like, where are you at? And, like, oh, they beat Texas. They beat this team. Like, those teams loom large in March when it comes to, like, picking these things. But yeah, it felt good. They look great. I really think Jake Diebler's a great coach. I think people were kind of like hesitant about him because he's a younger guy, hadn't been on the staff like super, super long. Interim guy that just gets the head job for like giving the team a spark at the end of the year. Those things don't always go super well. I just think the guy's a great coach, and I think we're gonna like see that blossom throughout the year.
Can I run a 3-team tease college basketball by you guys?
Mm-hmm. Please.
Okay, so it's an 8-point tease. So
I'll say this: in college sports in general, I'm not a big tease guy, but go ahead.
I'm only doing it to kind of off Marty's theory of like you want to bet these big spreads early. So these are all heavy favorites that I dropped down. So, okay, so the first one's BYU. They're playing Central Arkansas.
Tomorrow, or it's tonight?
Tonight. All these are tonight. And it's -22. So BYU hopefully would cover that. The other one is Texas Tech. They're playing Bethune-Cookman. I got it down to -20. And then San Francisco is playing Cal Poly. That's -13.5. Is there anything you don't like at those three?
I mean, just in these games, more so for me in these games.
Yeah.
Going off these spreads, I'm gonna look. I look at how bad the team is.
That's what I was kind of
factoring the San Francisco one. The San Francisco one, I do not love.
Okay. Do you like?
Just
is it because San Francisco or because of Cal Poly?
Probably Cal Poly.
Okay. You think they're not that bad?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like off the top of my head, I would also in state, like
That's
15.5
fair.
first night of college basketball. I feel like San Francisco lost some pieces. So I haven't looked at it at all, but I'd say that one's a little iffy to me.
All right.
I love the BYU one. That's one of my picks tonight.
Okay.
I have them covering that game. I think BYU is going to be sneaky, very good.
And Texas Tech?
Have to look into them more.
Yeah, they're playing. I said Bethune-Cookman, which I thought was a silly.
That's a
Florida.
Miami
Yeah,
school.
Florida.
Yeah. Let me
All right.
see.
Yeah, I knew Bethune-Cookman was in Florida. There was some kid from. Just being.
Wasn't Ed
College
Reed the coach
sports fan.
there?
Yeah.
Was he really?
Yeah.
I don't know if he still is, but I know he did.
Actually,
coach.
some kid that was like a star, like when I was in high school, like an opposing high school football, like ended up playing football down there.
All right.
He went to like Syracuse and then left and went to Bethune-Cookman.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's like small as Florida.
Probably must be a nicer college experience in Florida than in fucking upstate New York.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. I mean, weather.
Texas Tech's got to crank them.
Okay. All right. So the only one I'm kind of worried about then is the San Francisco -13.5 then, huh? All right. Well, keep your fingers crossed for me.
For me,
-120 18 tees.
I say
8-point tees.
I say this more for college football, but I think it does translate to like college basketball as well. Some like the margins between teams can be like so big, which in this case could help you, and so it could potentially help you. I just don't love I think they can like win games by so much, or like things can just go things can get so like wonky.
Yeah.
I don't love because you'll see plenty of games where like a team's like laying 5 or like catching 5 and like they lose by 30.
Yeah.
Or, like, you know what I mean? Like in football or in basketball, you can see like similar things. So I just generally don't tease like college sports.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean the bet's good.
I never have either. I'm kind of. This is just kind of I just thought I was up late night. I'm like, oh, we'll have
It was
some fun.
something that was taught to me early, especially in specifically college football.
Yeah,
was
it
like,
makes sense.
It was like don't tease. It's always like don't tease across the money line and don't tease like college football. And then it kind of instead of like don't tease as college like in general.
I've been staying off of teasers for NFL. I found that just I wasn't getting the ROI.
I don't mind it though. I don't mind the stretch. I looked into Cal Poly really quick.
Yeah.
They have one of the worst offenses in the country.
All right. Good. All right.
So that's just according to Ken Palm. So
All right.
going off that, like a San Francisco team in a pretty good conference, like in the WCC, like probably a top 100 team.
Oh,
13.5, you said?
13.5. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what it teases down to.
Yeah, I got to tease
Then
it
why
down.
not?
All right. All right.
I don't mind. I mean, the Texas Tech one, I think I'm going to take you on. I might take this teaser with you.
All right. I like that.
Let's see how it goes.
All right. I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
College basketball.
You'll see. Yeah.
'Cause
know.
I don't love anything tonight. Like I was going to take BYU.
It's all like these big spread games. There's no like premier matchups tonight.
I do love like a Texas Tech where like your identity, like McCasland, like he came from North Texas. He's a great defensive coach. Like I love in these big spreads a team that can swallow you defensively and like make it like difficult for you to score. Because then like if you get like the Texas Tech game could be 30-8 with like 8 minutes to go in the half, and you're like, holy shit! Like this team just cannot score. Like they double them up. So I always look in these big spreads a team that's like very very good on defense more than anything.
Okay.
Which Texas Tech is.
All right.
Dudes, give us your Final Four picks. Your preseason Final Four picks.
UConn, St. John's.
Okay, interesting. Wow.
No, I got that's too much Big East.
I was gonna say I was like double Big East to start.
I am gonna have 2 Big East teams. I'm gonna go UConn, St. John's. Let's throw Gonzaga in there and
Wow.
Houston.
All right.
You left out Duke.
Yes, I did. I don't think Duke will win it. That's my take going into the year. Will they be one of the best teams all year? Yes. Will they get a 1 seed? Probably. I think the immaturity might come in the tournament. They do have a good roster construction, though.
Very good roster.
Like
I
the
mean,
way
they're
they constructed
talented as hell.
talented as hell. They have like veteran pieces like Mason Gillis coming in from Purdue, who just came off a national championship. Good role players, but I think the inexperience will show in the tournament. So
That was when I was watching the Duke game. I had forgotten that they got Mason Gillis.
Yeah.
That was when I like turned the game on like a couple minutes in, and I was like, "Holy shit! Is that MACtion Gillis on Duke?" At Purdue, I was at Purdue like forever. I'm so used to playing them in the Big Ten.
I do have two teams that I think could be worth a stab if anyone. I know DK had lines out the other day. I think Cincy and Xavier could both make the Final Four. They're both
I've seen a
Cincinnati
lot
schools.
of Cincy love.
Cincy and Xavier. I think
What's
the
the Jazz Jizzle or what's the guy's name? Jizzle.
Jizzle James.
Jizzle James or whatever. He's incredible.
That's
really
one-
fun guard.
And the other two that I looked at, Oregon and Arkansas. People just, I think this might be the best John Calipari team in the past decade,
Wow.
roster wise. Like construction, top to bottom. I think he finally figured it out, and he's going to go on a fuck you tour.
Who's like who are the they Arkansas
They got
bring
Boogie
anyone
Fland.
back?
They got Boogie Fland.
Yeah. New York kid.
Yeah, they have the point guard from
He was supposed to go to
FAU.
Kentucky. He brought him with him.
Yes, they have the point guard from FAU.
Which one?
John L. Davis.
Oh, John. He's like a wing.
Yeah.
I guess John L. Davis is at Arkansas.
Yes. They have.
Holy shit.
They brought in Big Z, the Big Z from Kentucky, who was with them last year. So like, they got talent up and down.
I didn't realize John L. Davis.
Yeah.
John L. Davis is really fucking good.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. It's so tough with these with college basketball. You're just like learning on the fly, like with the transfer portal. It's like fucking you see kids that are like on their third school
Yeah.
in fourth.
Which
4
of
years,
these
it's like,
top
Jesus Christ.
schools has a veteran point guard? Like it's been like 3 years in school.
You got Arizona. You got.
That's always what I look for. Like,
You got
their
UConn
floor
with
general's been there.
UConn with Mahaney, but he's new.
Yeah.
Houston
St.
with
Mary's guy.
LJ Cryer. Gonzaga with Nembhard.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, every school for the most part. Like North Carolina, RJ Davis, even though he's more
Wait,
of a shooting guard.
is Caleb Love still at Arizona?
Yeah.
He's still. This guy's been playing forever.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Kansas with DeJuan Harris.
Yep.
Like all these schools mostly do.
Yep. A lot of good guard plays here. Bruce Thornton, Ohio State. Where does Ken Palm of Ohio State? Curious.
20th. They
Okay.
jumped a lot.
Okay.
They were like at 32 last night, so they jumped like 12
All right, we're
spots.
earning it. We're earning it. People will learn. Top 10 team in the country. I'm telling you, people will learn. Deep ass team. We solidly go 8-9 deep. Love watching this team. Love Diebler. I would say before we wrap, we had some college football tonight. Like I said, we got MACtion going. I'll give some of my picks for MACtion. This is hard of the year. It's funny because in MACtion, I usually when I see some of these like bigger spreads, I usually like take the dogs, but I think we have a couple of dead dogs walking here. Central Michigan's really, really bad. Also, some big wind tonight. We like some unders tonight. Love some unders tonight. A lot of wind in the Midwest. Like I said at the top of the show, I was making a little pun about the election, whatever. But I really do like Bowling Green. Bowling Green's super, super talented. Harold Fannin Jr. is the best player in the MAC. Maybe the best like G5 player. He's incredible. One of the best tight ends I've seen in college football in a while. Just truly like a dominant force. He lit it up against Penn State. Just a great player. I like them. They're laying 13.5 against Central Michigan. Central Michigan's really bad. I like Bowling Green and the under. Also, Miami, Ohio, actually really solid team. Their defense is phenomenal. And I think they, like Ball State's weaknesses, play very much into Miami, Ohio's strengths. Like Miami, Ohio laying the points in the under as well. Yeah, just matchup-wise, I just think just horrible matchup for Ball State. Their offense is putrid. Miami's defense is really, really good, stingy as hell. I think it's low scoring. Like I said, a lot of when we're looking at like 15, 20-plus mile-an-hour wins. Historically, like very, very good numbers for the under there on those. What do you got for picks, Clemmer?
I would say that there's no NBA games tonight.
Yeah, I know you had the election, no NBA games.
No NBA
it
games
threw me
tonight?
off, too.
So
I
like the Celtics a lot tomorrow, but
I was looking at the sport. I've been doing some more like NBA props and stuff like that. I was like going to look at that. And I was like, wait a second, there's no fucking basketball tonight.
I know. So
It's just some college, but even we got like a crazy slate yesterday where there were some like a lot of like big spreads, but some like you said, like some Ohio State, Texas, some like Gonzaga, Baylor mixed in. But then just a lot of like big spreads today.
yeah, it's a weird. It's obviously there's only been how many elections in U.S. history? Like 60. So this is a pretty strange day, period.
No NBA? What the fuck?
No
Like,
NBA?
No fucking Zini?
Exactly, AJ. So this is kind of I put that tease together just because I wanted to have something, and I was like, I might as well have something to keep distract me while I'm watching the election.
Oh, something too. I actually forgot. I totally forgot to say this when we were talking about the Chiefs. Chiefs game last night. D-Hop might be a problem for the rest of the league on this team.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he just was incredible last
2
night.
touchdowns.
He was, but even just the way they're able to you can rely on him, and
you know who else was better because of it too? Kelsey.
Yeah, Kelsey was.
It
great
opened up the
night.
field for him.
Kelsey was big last night. The thing with D-Hop, where I'm as much as like the Chiefs are now kind of becoming like the evil empire, I am happy, very happy for D-Hop.
Yeah,
this
me
dude
too.
is such a stud, and no matter who he has played with, such dog shit quarterbacks, like 90% of his career. If the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, I'll be like, you know what? I'm happy that DeAndre Hopkins is going to retire.
Super happy, and he's not an asshole. When have you heard him complain?
Phenomenal football player.
Like, has he ever really bitched or moaned?
No,
ever?
Honestly, he's such
Even in some bad situations.
He's such a rider for like his teammates. I remember when they drafted Deshaun Watson, they had Tom Savage the year before as a quarterback, Pitt guy who was
I remember him.
very mediocre
Yes,
at best. That's
yes.
generous. And he was like, until Watson like came in the building,
Did he start a playoff game, Tom Savage? Am I crazy about that?
TJ Yates did. TJ Yates,
that's right.
TJ Yates
That's right.
won a playoff game.
That's right.
Great North Carolina quarterback.
That's right.
But Tom Savage was like basically the starter, like coming in, like. But Watson, they just used the first round pick. Clearly, he was going to start, and he still was like, "No, like Savage is the guy." Like just riding for just like I'm not going to throw Savage under the bus until I see this guy come out and just be better. And then I think he never said a word about Tom Savage probably ever again.
No, but like I just feel like Hopkins.
I just appreciate him. Yeah, no, he hasn't been.
If they win it all, I'd be thrilled for Hopkins.
If anything, it was more just he's become the butt of he's not the butt of the joke. He's kind of a part of like Bill O'Brien being the butt of the joke for making that trade, that David Johnson, DeAndre Hopkins trade that aged horrifically in like
tough.
2 seconds was the worst trade ever. I don't know if him and DeAndre Hopkins didn't get along or what it was.
It
But
was such a weird trade. Even in the moment, everyone was like, "What the fuck?"
it's like, yeah, what are you doing?
Yes.
Like trading this guy for a running back that's like had injuries and. We forget. I guess David Johnson was incredibly dynamic, but
This is a
Hopkins who literally is like still doing the damn thing.
he had 1,400 yards first year in Arizona. Now he's 32. What a great situation for him to be in. Has this great like quarterback, this unbeaten team, and that starts to become the question: is when are the Chiefs going to lose?
Yeah, I was saying it's good. We haven't really. No one's really started to be like, hey, like
No.
17 now. Like no one. No. I think this might be the first time you start hearing like little like we're whispering, hey, Clemmer, 17 no. Just maybe you never know.
Next game's against the Broncos.
Especially if Mahomes starts actually playing well. Like he did last night. He played
know.
very well.
Dude, this guy sucks.
He had not really been good until
we have
last
sucked him
night.
off every episode, including myself. It's just like it's incredible. He's the most made quarterback of all time that finds a way to win it, which is the most like that is the highest like compliment I can give him. Like because it's like
even when he's mid, he's elite.
right, like it's like his stats are mid, your box score is mid. Everything's mid, and then he just makes winning plays, which I'm not even kidding, is the highest compliment I could give someone, is that you're elite at the worst you've ever been.
I'm pretty sure, I can't remember, I'm pretty sure last night he had to have 3 touchdowns and no picks to like put his touch to interception ratio like in the positive.
Yeah.
Like he literally, I think, unless it got changed the week before, I remember.
You guys aren't ready for November 24th. Chiefs go to Carolina.
Oh, what do we?
The week before that, though, is the game that the Chiefs could lose. It's at Bills.
I was gonna say
Only 3 games I think they could lose all season.
Yeah, but if they're so banged up from that Bills game after a hard-fought win, they're a little sluggish going to Carolina.
Meek, give
and
me-
Bryce Young has a good day.
I don't think it's that crazy.
Meek, how many points would the Panthers need to be getting for you to take the Panthers?
14.
14.
I might take the money line.
Honestly, I was gonna say if that game was in Kansas City, the line probably would be like 16.5. Like
How high
They will
can the
lose
line-
the game they're not supposed to lose.
What's the highest NFL line you've seen? Like
17.
was that
17
the
and a half.
Josh Allen game at Minnesota? Like his
That one was
rookie-ish year?
no. There's been a few. That one was that high though.
I don't know. There's a couple losable games.
It's so hard to have a high spread
I
like that in the NFL. Like they're professionals.
I see 3 losable games.
There's
Okay.
been a couple. I remember the one that which this one had like excruciating, like extreme circumstances. The game when Kendall Hilton had to
Yeah.
start for the Broncos. That one was like a 17-18
That was crazy,
spread,
yes.
and they actually ended up losing like 30-0. Like
Yep.
they covered it.
They covered it, yeah.
I remember I bet Kendall Hilton those Broncos and I got smoked.
Oh.
I see 5.
Actually, that game.
See 5?
I see 5 that they could lose. They could. Like I'm saying, like
I see 3 that are like.
what are they?
So they
Tell me.
Pull it up, baby. Let's see
Yeah.
the Chiefs schedule. Let's talk about it. So we got Bills. Bills, you can say is losable.
So I had.
So they got the Broncos. The first game's I think that's a winnable game in Kansas City. That's next week.
I know. I can't, I'm not going to look at this
So,
just as like in Kansas
so
City. Not.
Dukes, I'm assuming you're saying Bills, Steelers, Texans,
Those are my three.
No,
and that
I don't have the Texans win it.
you think Texas is not losable? It's. I mean, if you're gonna say like losable,
Yeah, I guess you could add it. 6.
So what are your six then? Those are my three.
Are you saying both Broncos,
No, I'm saying Bills.
Yep.
Raiders because they've lost them like last year?
I think
They
you
lost
could.
to them.
I think you.
They lost to them last year,
So I'm not going to do
guess I
that.
see what you're saying.
I'm giving losable to one of these. I'm going to go Chargers. I think Harbaugh could cook up a game plan for
That
them.
could happen.
They did almost. Chargers
that
did
could
almost
happen.
beat. They did almost beat them. They were winning. They almost beat them, I guess, in their first.
It's a bad matchup of the Chiefs too. Their
I
defense.
low-key think the Browns could be
Chargers
losable.
defense.
Oh man, I don't know.
I don't at all.
I'm treating in my head.
Although the Browns are the weird team, like
Yeah.
you say that, and then
I
like
know.
the Raiders,
I
like
know.
Ravens,
Like-
they might get smoked the next week, but they
this,
buy
this
the
is
Chargers.
also,
but they-
Plummer, I'm also looking at, and you're probably right. I am probably being like a little too like loose with this, but all I'm thinking of is like the Browns are like we need like this is our Super Bowl now. Like maybe in like somewhat of a way to like, get into the playoffs. I have no fucking idea, but I'm looking at this as like the Raiders game last year. Like this could be like this. You want this one going into next season,
Yeah,
See,
I don't see. I mean,
and then the last two I think are losable.
Steelers. And you got to figure too. The
I'd
pressure's
Steelers
going to be
is
on him too.
losable.
Yeah, like maybe Broncos is also like they sit people.
That could very well happen.
So that's,
I wonder
I
if-
think 5.
I wonder if they
I'll
got.
give you the Broncos and Chargers.
I wonder if they got to 16-0 in the game in that like game 17 meant nothing if they would play everyone or
They
not.
would.
You think they would go for it? They would
So
go
too.
for the undefeated record.
Because they'd have to bye the next week too. So
It's a fair point.
I think they would.
Interesting. It's interesting thought.
Remember the same discussion with the Patriots back in the day. Remember?
Yeah, it's an interesting
Are
thought.
they going to play the guy? Remember?
I was at that game.
Were you really?
Giants game. I was there.
Last week was his game.
They lost 38-35.
Yeah, it was a great game.
Burrows hit a
Yeah.
couple touchdowns.
Do you know what I
I was
said
at
that,
the
was a
game.
crazy
Me
game.
and my dad were at the game.
that day?
And
I-
Randy Moss and Tom Brady, they broke the
Touchdown.
season touchdown
Yeah.
records on the same play.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
It was a deep ball down like the right side of the field, just a deep ball.
It's a pretty good game to go to
Where
that.
our seats were, they were going away from us.
How old were you? Teenager?
It was the first Super Bowl, so I was like 8th grade. What was it? Oh yeah, 08.
Well, it must have been an awesome experience for you.
Yeah,
Like, as a
it was
kid, I know they lost, but like still
And
a cool game.
it was a year where we at that time, my dad we like shared season tickets. But I was playing like I was in 8th grade. Like our team was good. We like made the championship game
Yeah.
that year, and so we could never go on Sundays. And then that game was like a Sunday night game.
Yes, it was.
And it was after like youth football, like doesn't go to
Yep.
like December or like late December. So it ended. So it was the only like the year before we went to like the schedule worked out. We went to legit like 7 Giants home games.
Oh shit, yeah,
And the year before, or the next, that was the only one we went to that year. Was that game?
pretty good one.
Only one we went to all year.
That game, I said out loud, I was like, wow, I really don't want to play that Giants team in the playoffs. Thank God they're in the NFC.
Well, it's crazy to think in real time that was like I remember me and my dad like in the car on the way home being like, you know what, like,
Yep.
because I believe we had clinched as well. Like we didn't need that. Like obviously we lost.
That's right. You had.
We didn't like need. We like clinched the wild card. I believe it was.
I believe you're right.
And I remember me and my dad just being like, hey, like, you know, like, if we can hang with them, like, we can hang with anybody kind of thing. So, I mean, we even gave the Giants, like, a lot of optimism coming out of that game, being like, hey, like, maybe we could do it. Even though defense let up 38 points against them.
No, but the Giants look really good that night.
It was different.
I remember thinking-
I remember Burris had a big game, like, Eli played well, and they were starting to roll. Because it's crazy thing that year, that was only Eli's, like, 3rd, 4th year in the league. Like, he was still, like, pretty young at that point.
Yes, he was.
He was very young.
That's
Like,
so
that
weird
was
to think
7, 08
about.
year.
It's so weird to think about.
Yeah, like, now he's just doing Manning cast.
Guys get old quick, man. That's what happens.
I was in 8th grade. Now I'm 30.
Who was your I'm old moment? What was it like in sports?
My real old moment is when I realized I was older than every baseball player. Like that's like fuck. So every game I go to now, I'm the old.
Rich Hill.
I'm older than Rich Hill
Oh, geez, you're old.
by 6 months. Yeah.
I actually, this is so,
Damn.
I remember this is such a young one. I remember just officially being older than the kids in the Little League World Series and being like, damn, I'm old. I'm old as fuck. Like these kids are like significantly younger than me.
I still hold on to like the COVID years. Like, thank God that like Cam Rising exists. Like,
Oh,
and there's, like,
yeah,
these
make you feel a little bit about
25-year-old, like
college kids.
BYU linebackers. Like, thank God they exist. Because like that, adding to my first like, I said this is the oldest. Like this year has been my first like. I'm seeing the signs.
I'm gonna watch a lot of BYU football, so all the freshmen are off mission trips.
Yeah.
Like 21-year-old freshmen.
That's right.
But I was right. I'll give obviously just recap picks again.
Yeah. I'll give
I'm
that.
on Bowling Green in the under. I'm on Miami of Ohio in the under. I'll tweet those out, the like numbers and everything. 13.5 and 12, and I believe the total is like 48.5, and I think maybe both are 48.5. but I'll tweet out the full card. Clemmer, give you your.
Someone's looking for something to ride with today. Take this tease with me. 3-team, 8-point tease. BYU, it drops it to -22. Texas Tech drops it to -20. San Francisco drops it to -13.5. All those teams are home. It's -120. Something to do election night. Why not?
I'm with Clemmer. I'm taking all three of those, just not teasing. I'm doing them all straight up.
All right.
I might even just straight up parlay them.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Love it. And also, I would say, if you're just a real ball watcher, college football rankings come out tonight at 7 on ESPN, and then myself, Brandon Walker, Casey Blutman will be live on Necessary Roughness like right after the rankings drop to recap, give our thoughts, give a little kind of like further breakdown of everything that happened in college football this past weekend. So check that out tonight.
If you're looking for something that's not election coverage,
something else that's not election, we'll be talking ball around. I guess it'll be around 7:30, 8 o'clock on Unnecessary Roughness, all the channels. Appreciate everyone watching.
Do you think that the College Football Playoff Committee is more powerful than anybody else tonight? You can make the argument that this is the most important. Like
Breaking news.
Whoa.
Phil, Jesus. Okay.
Marshawn Lattimore to the Commanders.
Wow.
PFT
That's
asked for
official?
It's official
That's
for
official?
Ian Rappaport.
Do we know for what?
A premium draft pick.
Ooh.
Wow, that's actually fun fact. I had class with Marshawn Lattimore. At,
Did you really?
Yeah, we had a sport industry class together at Ohio State. Didn't talk much.
Lattimore to the Commanders. 4-time Pro Bowl corner.
He's an incredible player. He's only 28. Wow.
Wow.
That's a big time move by the Commanders. Holy shit.
Good for them. Like, good for the Commanders for, like, you know.
PFT asked for it this morning.
I wanted
So
to
do the right thing today. Make your voice heard and demand that the Commanders trade for a
There you go.
quarterback.
He got his
There
way.
you go. They got one of the premier cornerbacks in the NFL. So God bless.
Congratulations to the Commanders.
I've had a tough time. The Commanders have been like always third in the depth chart of rivalries in my NFC's hatred, but they can get there. They can go up that very fast if they start getting good.
You know what's funny? When I was a little kid, at the time the Redskins and the Giants rivalry, that was it. That was big because the Cowboys
They
were
were the
terrible.
two better teams,
Those
yeah.
are the two teams because think about it. In that stretch in the 80s, early 90s, the Redskins won 3 Super Bowls. You guys won 2.
Yep.
You got 5 from the same division. That's crazy.
Yeah. That it's weird. Like they just haven't been good my
They've been
whole
terrible.
life,
Well, you know
so-
Dan Snyder. It's not an accident. Why are they good now?
The Eagles were always way better. Cowboys always better. So always hated them. And just having so many Cowboys fans in New York, I just despise the Cowboys.
No,
They're always number one for me. But
I hate to say it, but you guys got someone else to look out.
and both them the last decades, both of them have really kicked the shit out of us. Like they own the Giants and Eagles, or excuse me, the Cowboys and Eagles own the Giants the last like decade. So
Commanders might be for real.
Commanders might fuck around. They might fuck around and own us the next decade. So fuck everyone in the NFC East for the Giants. Thanks for watching. That's Pick Central. We'll be back tomorrow. God bless.